Hello. In this puzzle, there's only one move that will win for white. Anything else will result in a draw. This video, we're going to talk a bit about the key squares, and it should help you get this right so that you can win for white. If your pawn is on the 7th rank and not in the A or H files, the key squares to get your king to promote the pawn are the 3 spaces in front of the pawn and the 2 spaces either side of the pawn. So the only way to not win this is to not move your king to one of the key squares. That allows the black king to get in front of your pawn. So it's now either a stalemate, or if you move your king away, you get a draw because the black king can take your pawn. Moving your king to one of the key squares allows you to promote your pawn and then go on to win the game. If your pawn is on the A file, then the key squares are B7 and B8, so you can stop the black king getting in the corner. Or if you have an H pawn, then you stop the king getting to G7 or G8. So the only way to not win this game is to not move your king to the key squares and then allow the black king to get into the corner. So now it's either a stalemate, or you have to move your king away and lose the pawn. Moving your king into one of the key squares then obviously stops the black king getting into the corner. Now you can safely promote your pawn to win the game. If your pawn is on the 5th or 6th rank, the key squares to get your king to are the 6 squares in front of the pawn. Here white fails because we don't get the king into a key square. Instead we advance the pawn, and now it's a stalemate, or we lose the pawn if we move the king away. Again, we fail to win here if we move the king behind the pawn rather than taking a key square. Now black can block the pawn from promoting, and eventually we end up with the stalemate or the loss of the pawn. Getting our king to a key square obviously then allows you to promote the pawn and go on to win the game. If your pawn is on the 2nd, 3rd or 4th rank, the key squares are the square 2 in front of the pawn, then the 2 squares either side of that. You can no longer win if you advance the pawn because it makes the key squares too close to the black king. Now the black king can move over and get to the key squares before the white king can. So then black can go on and stop us from promoting by always getting in the way and preventing us promoting the pawn. And we end up with the same stalemate pattern as before. If we move the king to d3, the black king can start moving diagonally forwards, and you can see that the black king gets to the key squares first. So again, this means we can no longer promote the pawn. The game is now drawn. Black can just keep in the way, and we will never be able to win the game as long as black plays the right moves. Here again, we are in the stalemate situation. So the only way to win this for white is to move the king to e3, because then black doesn't have time to get across and cut off the white king getting to one of the key squares, because now the white king can move in, gain the opposition against the black king, and now gets one of the key squares, which means that black can no longer stop the pawn from promoting, and we can go on to win the game. So here we go, we approach the queen and we win the game. Okay, that's the end of this video. I hope it was useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.